Welcome to the 8th and final round here in Turin in northern Italy. The World Indoor Trials Championship reaches a thrilling climax. Will it be Dougie Lampkin? Will it be Mark Collie, the two great rivals who are, well, they've been at it outdoors and indoors all the way through, really, for the last 3 years. Remember, a hat-trick of indoor trials championships for Mark Collie back in 94, 5 and 6. Dougie Lampkin chasing his hat-trick. But first, we're taking a look at a couple of the support acts. The two veteran Italians. They've shared the Italian Championship here for the last 11 years, these guys. The first one we see, dropping a point on Section 1 on the rocks, is Diego Bossis. Diego Bossis, 32 years old now, still competing. He's done over 150 world trials round in his career. He was twice second in the world, of course, way back to Geordie Tarras in 1987 and 1990. But he's not quite got the indoor skills of the younger brethren who are still practicing it regularly. So at Turin, a 5 on Section 1 for Diego Bossis. A sympathetic round of applause from his home crowd. Diego, remember, used to have tremendous indoor skills. He won the first 2 ever indoor trials at Paris-Bercy, the great trial master in Bercy in 1990 and 1991. Notice where his back wheel is. That's the edge of the section. That upraised sleeper there is the edge of the section. He can't go any further back than that. So this makes this into a pretty severe step that he's trying to get up here. Of course, he's got that slope to help him if he wants it. Now riding for the Montesa Importer. Diego has ridden for just about every conceivable make of motorcycle during his long and extremely successful career. First Italian champion in 1989, last in 1995. Oh, but he's got offline on the way up. He'd really just about got the drive, but lost the back wheels line. And so, Section 2 and another 5 for Diego Bossis. Not a good start. You'll notice there's a lot of empty seats in the background here in Turin. Well, it's rather unfortunate, really, because the weather suddenly turned very beautiful outside on this particular afternoon. And also, they'd had a night of it, a non-championship trial the previous evening, which was a sellout capacity house. And it was actually won by Dougie Lampkin from Steve Collie and Mark Collie. Collie, remember, always excels when there isn't a world championship in the balance. He won in Turin, in this stadium, back in November of last year. So he finished second to Dougie Lampkin the first night here, this time around. Can he hold that form up? 1 point down there for Diego Bossis on Section 6. Can he hold that form up when the world points count? Bossis then, he's the pathfinder really. He's showing the way around this course. This, of course, is lap 1. We've got 8 riders, so 4 of the riders will go out on the first lap. That'll leave us with the 4 qualifiers to contest the final. Bossis on Section 6. He 5'd sections 1, 2, 3 and 4. So he's not having a very good time of it, really, the veteran Italian from Bergamo. He's looking a bit neater now. I think he's warming up. It must be pretty tricky when you come out into the stadium cold. You're the first person out there, the first person to face these rather brutal hazards. Incidentally, the sections will all be done in reverse when we reach the final stages. This then Section 6 out of 6. And unfortunately, I think Diego will probably be taking an early bath. I can't see anybody losing more points than him. Having done 4 consecutive maximum 5s, then he'd notched up 20 straight away. I think the younger lads, even the older boys, like in the blue in the background there, watching keenly, Amos Bilbao, I'm sure that they'll be managing a little better. The guys who ride a bit more regularly. Amos, or rather Diego, isn't very happy about this, is he? He's sort of shaking his wrist there as if to say, well, do I want to do this? Oh, at my age, should I be doing this? And yes, he should. Just 1 point lost then in Section 6, but with 3 lost on time as well. 27 points overall, so a rather hefty total for Diego Bossis. Now, the man that Diego Bossis has shared the Italian Championship with over all those years, now retired from the world scene, but the reigning and in fact Italian champion of the last 3 years is Donato Miglio. Miglio now the development and test rider for Beta, the Florence-based concern. So he's the man who makes the Beta that Dougie Lampkin rides to success such a good machine. Here he is on section 4. Miglio then, and the most fascinating thing about Donato Miglio is and Diego Bossis, as Miglio just makes it up onto the top of that wooden drum, is that they were both born on the same day. Can you believe that? 9th of October 1966. Donato here was born in Arona, and Diego Bossis is a Bergamo boy. He's also been a terrific performer in his time, won 4 World Championship rounds in his heyday, 3rd in the world back in 1988 on a Fantic, and he's clean out of section 4, Donato Miglio. He's already had a 5 on section 2 and lost 3 points on section 3. Donato Miglio then, he finished 3rd again in 1990 and 4th in 91 on Aprilia. He moved on to Gasgas, 5th in the world in 93. And finally went to Beta as the development rider for the last couple of years. Just notching himself down into 2nd gear after getting the drive and the pickup in 3rd gear to pop up onto the top of this entertaining looking section 5. It's an intriguing way of, sort of environmentally friendly way of making tree trunks look rather pretty. But he's having to drop a foot there, just a steadying dab for Donato Miglio, being watched with some interest by Martin Lampkin. Miglio, of course, a very tall, elegant, very clever rider. Not particularly a fighter, just a really smooth, fluent performer. Used to wear spectacles, now wears contact lenses, so he's a little less distinctive than he used to be. As I say, he won that Italian Championship last year by 2 points from Bossis. And there he goes, just 1 point dropped as he clatters one of the section's ends cards. But he's all right, just 1 point down. So he's doing pretty well so far with just section 6 to go before the race off. Mind you, he's not doing so well on time. Remember, there's an overall time limit on all the sections together. Here he goes, the big hit onto section 6. Miglio's up. It's a long section, this one, a long haul through. These sections have been designed by Renato Chiverto, who was a world-class trials rider himself back in the 1980s, alongside the likes of Thierry Michaud. And he has managed to design them so they can be ridden back over, which Martin Lampkin said is probably the hardest thing to do with these indoor trials sections, is to create hazards that can be worked at both ways around. Preferably... Oh, and he's lost it completely! Just like that. Donato Miglio just went straight on when he needed to turn slightly left. So a consoling wave to the crowd. He's 4 minutes over. He's 4 penalty points over time, I beg your pardon. So a total of 20. A total of 20 for Donato Miglio. Now, he was followed by Marcel Jastribo, the 20-year-old former European champ on the Montesa Honda, who lost just a mean 10 marks. So the pressure's on. Amos Bilbao, he's seen Jastribo lose just 10. And now 30 years Marcel's a senior, and also on the Montesa Honda, Amos Bilbao has got to do something a little bit better than that. Here he is on section 1. Steve Collie in the background there, checking out the sections. Well, you finished 2nd last night, Steve. No reason why you shouldn't do that again. Oh, and he got it up. Vigorous attack by Amos Bilbao, appreciated by the relatively thin audience. And out, so clean out of section 1, a bright start for Amos. Just 1 point. 1 point down on section 2, and then on to section 3, and the massive tyres. Now, this is the sort of section that will probably benefit for the aggression and panache of Amos Bilbao, the little guy from Santander. Wonderfully oh, and he just gets away with it. Oh, does he? Hang on, eventually has to drop one of his little short legs, and it's just long enough. Amos Bilbao, Steve Collie smiling at his antics there. That was very entertaining, just 1 point down, but what a dashing, full of bravura, a typical piece of attack by Amos Bilbao there on section 3, just 1 point down. Unfortunately, Amos wasn't able to keep that form going, and he actually fived sections 4 and 5. Mark Collie giving him a wonderful look in the background there, as if to say, well, what are you going to do about things now, sunshine? Looks like you've messed up big time. So really, Amos is suddenly on a rather sticky wicket here. He's lost 12 points. So he's already... Oh, he hasn't hit that hard enough. And just when he needed that fabled aggression and that bite, he simply didn't give it enough. So Amos Bilbao, things not looking so good for him. So Bilbao eventually totalling 18 marks, or at least underneath Donato Miglio, but still not as good as it should have been. Now Steve Collie. Collie, as he admits, always does terribly well when it's not a World Championship event. Witness his wonderful victory in Bercy and his victory at Turin. He did actually win a World Round in Toulouse in France. Oh, he's looking a bit unsure of himself already. His sort of Donato Miglio look-alike minder there is actually supplied by the gas importer, the Italian importer. Steve has an agreement with the gas importer, Claudio Favro, F&G distribution, that he will provide him with a minder whenever he rides in Italy. Can this young man provide the sort of inspiration that Steve Collie needs? He's trying to get him to back up a little bit so he can get this gravestone in his stride. It doesn't look that high, does it? But as Diego Bosses proved earlier, it's a nasty approach. You've got to really attack it surprisingly hard to rock that sump guard over the top. The 26-year-old from the Isle of Man, just checking that he's got his back wheel when he wants. I don't know whether he entirely trusts this boy who's meant to be his minder. He's looking out for it himself. Now he's got to hit this hard. Oh, and he's not hit it hard enough. He just didn't transfer his weight far enough forward. So Steve Collie, a disastrous start, 5 marks down in section 1. Okay, Steve, settle your nerves down a bit. Collie in section 2 just lost 1, which was a great deal better. Now he's beginning to get that sort of aggression back, probably anger actually, the way he attacked that. I think that just looked like self-recrimination, didn't it? A very large dose of annoyance. Okay. Steve Collie then on these mighty tyres. And he's flicking across there very nicely. He's looking at just a little bit more stable than that rather dramatic attempt by Amos Bilbao. And so far he's clean. Now he's got to get the drive off here to just roll it up on top of that huge tyre on the right. Oh, beautifully done. So a clean on section 3 for Steve Collie. And he cleaned section 4 as well. Collie cleaned section 4. Now, what can he make of section 5? Incidentally, Graham Jarvis, who went round before Collie, went round for just 7 marks lost, which was a pretty terrific performance from the boy from Canterbury, now domiciled in Yorkshire on the Copa. So Jarvis looking a clear-cut qualifier. A brilliant performance. 3 of those 7 marks he actually lost on time. Talking of which, Collie doesn't want to take up too much time at the moment. He's just had to drop a steadying foot there to line himself up. So 1 mark down so far on section 5. Collie still there. Still holding the gas. Remember, he rides for the Jordi Taras gas Andorra team. And he gets off. Just 1 point down out of section 5 for Steve Collie. So will he make it through to the final? We'll have to wait and see.
Tuesday live boxing this week could be special. We're in the...
Oh, and the news that Steve Collie didn't make the cut. He lost 5 points on the last section, section 6 of the first lap, 14 mark total, which meant that this young man, Marcel Jastribo, on 10 marks lost, was actually the last of the qualifiers for the final, and therefore the first man to go in the final. So Jastribo going on reverse through section 1 on his Montesa Honda. He lost 10 marks. Dougie Lampkin lost 8 marks, rather surprisingly, with a 5 on section 4. Graham Jarvis, 7 marks. 3 of them on time, so that was an amazing round, and 6 marks lost by Mark Collie. So in reverse order, there's Dougie Lampkin keeping a close eye on Marcel Jastrebo, because Lampkin is the next one on. And just 1 mark down straight away for Marcel Jastrebo, just overbalances slightly. His results have simply been getting steadily better all the way through the indoor, and he skates with just 1 mark down. Marcel Jastrebo operating without a minder here, rather like the Englishman Jarvis and Collie had to do in Spain. This time the situation reversed. Dougie Lampkin never does that. He's always got Martin shouting at him. You can listen out for his father. Dougie Lampkin then shaping up to try and clean this section. He knows he doesn't have to win here in Turin. He'd like to, because it's all to do with pride and respect, isn't it? And the fact that you're a competitor. But he knows that at the moment he's got a decent lead in the championship. The championship results, of course, at the moment as he cleans section 1 in the final. Lampkin on 125 points, Mark Collie on 114. Steve Collie on 96, and this man, Graham Jarvis, on 87. So Jarvis has a chance, still has a chance, really, of pinching that 2nd place, because Collie's only going to get, are my maths up to this? Collie will get 20, 17, 15, 13, 11 points for his 5th place here in Turin. And that means, well, actually, it means that they could tie. It means that Jarvis could tie Collie for 3rd place in the championship if he could win here. Mind, it's a bit of a tall order against Collie and Lampkin, but there you go. He's got the help. Oh, he just lost it slightly, but managed to brilliant regain it, but just have to put a leg down in the end. Jarvis then dropping 1 precious mark there on section 1. And 2. Oh, Graham just slightly losing his edge there as he approaches the end of that, but takes a long, long turn and escapes with a 2. Well, actually, that was pretty remarkable in the end. Bit disappointed with himself there. You'll notice that he's got his regular minder with him. Steve Bird, the 29-year-old from Kettering, is there because he knows how much this matters to Graham Jarvis. He could yet tie that 3rd place in the World Series with Steve Collie, but he needs to win this final if he's going to do that. Now Mark Collie. Whoops, not quite. Trying to rescue the situation here. He's got all the weight on that sump guard. He needs to get some contact between tyre and rock to squeeze the Montesa forward. Look at the way he just tickles at it. He's remarkable, isn't he? The man who was a cycle trial starter, he was 15. Look at the way he managed that. And then was such a prodigy when he went onto motorcycles that when he was 16, he was winning his 1st World Championship point, just like that. And you notice how few revs, almost staggering how few revs he needs to use with his Honda engine. And he survived it. He got away with it. He knew that Lampkin had cleaned that 1st section and he desperately needed to do it himself. But in fact, he's shaking his head because he lost 1 mark on time. So 1 mark down on time for Mark Collie, remember? And look at Salvador Garcia saying, well, what do you expect, sunshine? You took too long. Mark Collie then just taking a little too long over section 1. And that was a crucial point drop, because you have 1 minute to do each of these sections, and then for every 30 seconds thereafter, you lose a further mark on time. Now, Jastrebo. Oh, he just didn't give it enough, or almost too much, in fact, and he bounced himself back, and Martin Lampkin there kindly standing up on top for safety's sake to grab the front wheel of the Mont, so as to save Marcel Jastrebo from any further embarrassment or even harm. So, Jastrebo 5, section 2, the sleepers. Now, Lampkin. How will he deal with this rather awesome-looking little set of steps? Although he's starting off from a slope, which gives him a... Oh, beautiful. Just edges his way up. Right, Lampkin on top. Now, remember, when he comes down, the edge of the section is that upraised sleeper, and he's got to turn left at the bottom. So he'll have to be ever so careful about the way he drops himself down. It's a long way down there, isn't it? It must be about 9 or 10 feet. Oh, down. And the front wheel slipped over. The front wheel slipped over at the bottom. The crowd's applauding because they think that Dougie's cleaned it, but the front wheel actually slipped across that raised sleeper at the bottom, so Jarvis has been warned. Graham Jarvis knows what lies in store. That 5 will surely cost Dougie Lampkin dear tonight. So Jastrebo and Lampkin have both 5 Section 2. Attenzione, yeah, pay attention. Graham Jarvis particularly. And Steve Bird up on top. Oh, lovely. Again, Jarvis almost motors his way up, treating it like a main road. Steve Bird gets down. Now, what's Graham going to do? He's seen what happened to Lampkin. Salvador Garcia is interested in what he's going to choose to do as well, although he's, as ever, more concerned with blowing dust off the hazard. I know, Grimbo's gone to his right. Is he going to ignore that slope down? It's a long way down. The Scopa easy. Take it easy, Graham. I think he's going to go for the long drop. God, this is brave. Oh, yes, and he's done it. Superb. Graham Jarvis cleans Section 2. That's a tremendous lift to his confidence after losing a couple on the first section. Jarvis and the Scopa clean through Section 2. He saw Lampkin 5 it. He decided he was going to tackle it a different way. Now, what will Mark Collie do? He's seen the 2 very different routes down. Listen to that Honda engine foot its way up here. If you can. Can you hear it? Oh, he didn't give it enough then. Even he can't manage to get up on quite as little throttle as that. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. He accelerates it ever so gently from a standstill. Now, what's he going to do? He's going to go down the Lampkin way. I expected him to be a little more cautious than Jarvis. Mark Collie then, the 24-year-old former champ. Yes! And he manages, bravo, says the commentator. Collie manages to get sufficient left lock on to avoid any problem. He too cleans Section 2. It's wide open. Marcel Jastrebo, can he carry on his run of form recently? The 20-year-old Spaniard. Remember, he finished 4th in Portugal, 4th in Germany, improved to 2nd place in Spain. That was the second round, of course, that we had in Spain. We've had both Barcelona and Madrid. He finished 2nd in Madrid. So that run of form has taken him within striking distance of Amos Bilbao's 5th place in the championship. It's asking a lot, man. He'd probably pretty much need to win here, rather as Jarvis does if he was going to achieve more. But looking confident on the big tyres. Look at that, rubber to rubber, spinning that rear wheel ever so neatly, just as much as he needed to. Marcel Jastrebo then cleaning Section 3. The moment in the championship, incidentally, is 10 points behind Amos, but Amos has only finished in 6th place. Oh, 6th place Lampkin just making it up onto the tyres. I was going to say 10-point difference. Exactly the same thing applies. In fact, if Marcel Jastrebo could win this final, he would tie in 5th place in the championship with Amos Bilbao. But at the front, it's all about this guy, Dougie Lampkin, maintaining that 11-point advantage or somewhere near it over Mark Collie, and he railroaded his way, absolutely main-roaded his way through Section 3. Lampkin and the beater, making up for that minor disaster on the second hazard. Now, Section 3, Graham Jarvis. Oh, a lot of revs up. Oh, almost too many revs. And Steve Bird had to launch himself forward bravely to drag that front wheel up. Graham Jarvis messed up there. It almost hit it with too many revs in 3rd gear and simply got the rebound instead of getting the grip. Well, it's no good carrying on, Graham. I'd take off and take a rest. That's what wrecked the place. It's all right. Nobody minds. Exasperation. So suddenly, the chances of victory that just lit up for Graham Jarvis have dimmed once more in Section 3. And notice how much the legs and the suspension, the show of suspension and the legs came into play as Mark Collie attacked that huge tyre with real vigour, having seen what happened to Graham Jarvis. He hit it hard, but he really used his legs. Steve Collie says that's the secret of getting any of these bikes up onto these big hits. Not necessarily just the splat technique, but using your legs. You've got to be concentrated, focused, make those legs work. And that's just what Mark Collie did then, so he's clean. Now Collie, except for 1 point lost on time on section 1, has cleaned the first 3 hazards. So he at the moment looks the favourite for victory as we move on to section 4. Marcel Jastribo. Oh, and instant failure for Jastribo on the Honda. The Honda engine, Montesa, beg his pardon. And there again, the dangers of going first. Has he done any damage? Hastily taking a check. Now, Lampkin's been warned. Section 4, Martin's up there prepared for him. Oh, and there, even Dougie had to hit that very hard, and the body language, you could really read it into the way that he forced that bike over the top. Benissimo, yeah, pretty good, pretty good. This commentator's making so much noise we can't even enjoy Martin Lampkin's instructions to his son. Martin prepared to grab something here, only if it absolutely must, but his son just creeps up there. So Lampkin looking good in section 4. And he's made it on time as well. Lampkin cleans section 4. So he's still keeping the pressure on. If he keeps cleaning, then Collie got to do the same. Now, look how difficult it is. You've got nothing to grip the back wheel on. That's why Steve Bird's waiting anxiously on top of the drum there. Oh, and he didn't quite make it. Same identical copybook style to Marcel Jastribo. Jarvis just didn't get sufficiently high with that back wheel to grip the rim. And look at the effort there. Dougie Lampkin allows himself a quiet smile. He realises that it's going to be down to him and Collie and that his world title's almost in the bag. Now Collie again, see the use of the legs. Just see how much lift he got there to make sure that back wheel would hit the top rim of the cable drum and hauled the Montesa up. So it looks to me Collie's on hot form, isn't he? He's in a little bit of a hot streak. Remember, if he wins here, that'll be 4 victories apiece in the 8 rounds for him and Dougie Lampkin. But the fact that he slipped badly in France back to 5th place, and also had a couple of 4th places in Sheffield, the very first round, and in Vienna, that's what's hurt him. Whereas Lampkin only slipped off the rostrum once at the last round in Madrid. Oh, look at that. Just creeping that front wheel up the side, maintaining his balance. Oh, and just heaving himself up. Fantastic. But an anxious glance at the watch from Salvador Garcia. He's running out of time a little bit. He decides to go down sideways. Garcia was shouting at him just then as he went off, so 1 point down. He just went over the minute there, 1 point down on time in section 4 for Mark Collie. I shouldn't think he'll be too worried about that. If he can keep his losses down to singles, then there's no way that Dougie can catch him. So at least he can go out in a blaze of glory and claim the same number of actual indoor victories in this tantalising indoor World Championship Series of 1999. Marcel Jastribo. Oh, he instantly dismounts off section 5, an instant 5 for the 1995 European champ. Oh, he looks disgusted with himself there. Now, Dougie's been warned not to take it too easy there. And again, a lot of use of the legs to pump that beater up on top of the wood. Again, remember, we're doing this section in reverse. Ooh, nice. Just look at the amount of grip in those tyres. Look for a moment if it just might slither off that wood, but no problem. 4 pounds per square inch rubber that you could hang off the wall. Now, sections 5 and 6, of course, are both long sections, as well as being extremely tricky. They're demanding sections, they're long sections. Oh, Dougie just holding on the brakes. Step-by-step instructions from Martin. Notice that glance at the watch. It's just taking a long time for Lampkin, the reigning and defending world champion, indoors and out. And he escapes. He's lost one on time. 1 point down on time for Dougie Lampkin in section 5. And Dougie hasn't been hanging around of late, so it shows what a long, awkward section that was, what an achievement it is getting through it. Now, Graham Grimbo Jarvis on the Montpellier-built French Copa. At the moment, oh, go on, Graham. It's not so much third place in the championship that Jarvis is thinking about as he attempts to kick Steve Bird in the head. It's the fact that he could consider it's between him and Marcel Jastribo, who finishes third on the night, or should I say on the afternoon. So Jarvis, the Kentish boy who lives now with Malcolm Rathwell, the former European champ, up in Yorkshire and has done for the past 5 years. He's got to watch the time as well, of course. Mind you, he did see Jastribo 5 this section, didn't he? Because at the moment, they're pretty much neck and neck, these two. Now, if Graham could improve on that 5, that will put him ahead of Marcel Jastribo in the race for the podium. Can he do it? He's certainly taking his time. Steve Collie on the right there in civvies, watching his friend anxiously. Jarvis trying to back up, stick it in reverse gear, Graham, just trying to back himself up so as to get a clean lift of the front wheel. I've just realised that's why, Mr. Chiverto has painted the tops of these stumps green so that you can see them properly. You can see what you're aiming at. And he's managed it. Ooh, it took him a long time, but he's managed it a long time, a lot of effort. But the time's creeping on now. The time really is creeping on. Graham Jarvis already edging into overtime on this section. He had to drop a foot in the end as well, so 1 point down. Oh, and a second one. Hold it, Graham, hold it. Can he save it? Yes, he can. He hooks it back up on top. But as Steve Bird shouts, 1 minute 27 seconds at him, he's not fast enough out, just goes over the 1 minute 30. So in fact 2 on observation, 3 on time was as good as a 5, so 5 points down. It's still absolutely neck and neck between Jastribo and Jarvis for that third place on the rostrum. Meanwhile, Mark Colomé, he's still our clear leader. But of course, it just takes one mistake for the whole scenario to change in this wicked world of indoor trials. Colomé, though, he is looking pretty smooth and supreme tonight. Just turns himself around, spins it gently on that bash plate underneath the sump. Rolls it down. He's already seen, of course, the problem that Jarvis had, and he pops it up a lot quicker. He keeps that back wheel a little bit higher and can pop the front wheel there and then there. Salvador's urgent promptings. It's wonderful. I must really learn Spanish. Although the gesticulations are almost enough. Look at that. What he's in fact telling him is that he's virtually out of time, but that he just took his time and got out, which he does. Clean and just loses a mark on time. Just 1 mark lost there for Mark Colomé in section 5. It's all down to section 6. Who's going to win in Turin? World Indoor Trials Championship Series. This is Marcel Jastribo. He's in a cliffhanger, absolutely neck and neck with England's Graham Jarvis for third place tonight. Whilst Mark Colomé And Dougie Lampkin are fighting for first place and, of course, a championship, which looks now safely in the hands of Dougie Lampkin. That will be his indoor hat-trick. 98, 97, 98 and 99 World Indoor Cup Series wins for him. Now, Section 6 is a long one. So the boy from Gliede, who finished 10th in the World Championship last year and has had a terrific late-season indoor run. Can he get that third place and a place on the rostrum? Time will come into play once again, remember. Just 1 minute allowed for these sections and then a time penalty imposed for every 30 seconds after that. That's all supposing you got through with your feet up, of course. Marcel not being hurried. I suppose when you're in contention with Graham Jarvis, you perhaps don't need to think about speed primarily, because Graham is hardly the fastest rider in the business. Oh, he's just balancing. Yes! It was worth the wait. Perfection there from Marcel Gistribo. And again. And again. Yes, and he gets out. He loses 2 points on time. He won't be too worried about that now. The thing is, he looks exhilarated with that, doesn't he? He's got to wait and see what Graham Jarvis can do now. Dougie Lampkin. Lampkin, of course, more than anything, would like to stay clean, completely clean through this, and then he sets a challenge up for Mark Collie. Oh, beautifully stopped. Beautifully stopped. A stoppie from Dougie Lampkin, and then he just hoists that front wheel up. Then he's got to bridge the gap. Again, he gets himself into line. It took Gistribo an almost absurdly long time to set himself up here. Can Lampkin do it slightly quicker? Okay there, says his dad. So he knows he's ready for it. Oh, beautiful. That is a tricky gap to get across, and the crowd appreciate the fact. So Lampkin down onto the pipe. And out. Just 1 point down on time. One time penalty for Dougie Lampkin. Doesn't look completely happy with that, but there you go. One time penalty for Dougie Lampkin. He's done explaining what happened, or what should have happened. Now, Jarvis, if he could get through this clean and just a fraction quicker than Gistribo, then, well, he'd have a slight advantage. Remember, they've got the race to come, which can just be worth 1 point to one or the other of them. And as I say, Graham not being the fastest of men in this competition, he doesn't really want to be dependent on a race-off if he can help it. The racing incident is a curious sort of figure-8 affair, where the guys don't actually race side by side. They set off in opposite directions. It'll be difficult for the television cameras to pick up just how dramatic it might potentially be, actually. You can see the wooden frames, the green frames laid out in the background there, marking the route round the floor of the stadium. This is tricky. The guys obviously have to be so precisely on line before they can risk the takeoff. Graham managing to find the time for a two-way conversation with Steve Bird here. He's still not now. Perfect, says Steve, borrowing the vocabulary of Martin Lampkin. Oh, and beautiful. Graham does it as well. The guys have got this so fantastically sorted. 1:27. Oh no, Graham. He tried to escape within the 3 seconds, but he hasn't quite made it. He's got 2 points down on time, so it is in fact a race-off for third place. Section 7 will be a race-off between Gistribo and Jarvis for third place here in Turin. Now Mark Collie. Collie's seen everybody lose time on this one so far. He knows that the advantage points-wise lies with him. If he can make a pretty clean run at this, it doesn't matter too much if he drops a point or two on time. And of course it's all because of that, just that marginal mistake that Dougie Lampkin made on section 2. That's what cost him dear, because this guy's on such good form. The two of them have really traded clean since then. Now here's the difficult bit, edging your way round. You need to be absolutely straight on. Garcia making sure that he is. Oh, the tension's fantastic, Graham Jarvis. Everybody watching, riveted on Collie here. Now watch this. Oh, yes, beautifully done. Minimal, really. He's a minimalist, isn't he? Again, Salva there in the background with those black gloves. Whoa there, man, whoa. And yes, he's clean, he's over clean, but he's over the minute. So 1 down on time for Mark Collie. But that shouldn't bother him, because he should be all right for the win. He can even afford to lose his race off against Lampkin, shed a point and still win here in Turin, the final round of the 1999 World Indoor Championship Series. But of course the first race will decide the third place on the podium, because Marcel Jastribo on the Montesa, Graham Jarvis on the Scopa, heading off. They don't actually dislike one another as much as this. Look, they're just under orders to sprint off in opposite directions. So Jarvis, yellow helmet, blue motorcycle coming towards us, and the red motorcycle in the background there, and the red gear of Marcel Jastribo. This is Graham. Come on, Grimbo, head down and go for it. Now while he's doing this, in the sort of figure of 8, here is Marcel Jastribo going over the blue hazards. We have a colour combination here too, and of course the observers running round making sure the lads are doing it and staying on track as they should be. Oh, Graham, he's not hanging around, but I don't know, I think he's hung around too much, and he has, because there's Jastribo already coming down the other side, and Marcel Jastribo wins it, and that gives him third place. It's as simple as that. So third place by 1 point, 19 points to 20. They were tied on 19. A 1 point penalty on the race-off of section 7 drops Graham Jarvis down to 4th place and off the rostrum. Bad luck for him. That was been nice to see him on the rostrum at the last round here, because he has had a good run of he's actually, it would have only been the 3rd time on the rostrum. He was on the rostrum at Vienna in Austria, and he was on the rostrum with a brilliant 2nd place in Portugal behind Mark Collie. So here are the world's best at the moment, still the undisputed world's best. The guys have won the World Championships outdoors and indoors for the last 4 years.